Good morning from Los Angeles. It's Alyssa Corum and Ken Shreve here with your market update on this Wednesday. And on today's show, we are looking at the post-earnings action for Boeing and Texas Instruments and previewing Vertex and O'Reilly Automotive after the close. So taking a look at the major indexes, we are still seeing weakness here. The NASDAQ is down about 0.9%, leading losses, while the S&P 500 is down about 0.5%. And the Dow is now down almost 0.25%. And we're going to take a look at the chart of the Dow. So breakdown kind of at the close that we saw yesterday and what we're seeing so far today.
It was a pretty good close for the stock market yesterday. You know, the NASDAQ was down about 2.4% intraday. It rallied nicely into the close, as did the other major stock indexes, closing well off session lows. And we had a nice earnings report from Boeing this morning, which gave the Dow an early lift, but we're seeing sellers back in the market here. Tech stocks still under a lot of pressure, and the Dow has faded an early gain. So we're still in a correction, and sellers are still appear to be in control.
That's right. Well, we do have a gap up in shares of Boeing today, although those gains are fading a bit. The stock now up about 2.5% in heavy volume. It's trying to reclaim a key technical level. We have earnings up 37% and sales were up 4%. Also, strong guidance from Boeing as well. The profit outlook was a nice bump there.
Yeah, it was really an outstanding earnings report, and you can see a look at a chart of Boeing. It actually undercut its 200-day moving average yesterday. It looked like it was going to be a bullish gap above the 50-day moving average today. It's given back a lot of those gains and is actually just below the 50-day line right now. So really good numbers at Boeing, bullish guidance. Their commercial aircraft unit increasing profitability there, but strong earnings not good enough for this blue chip component.
That's right. And we have a semiconductor stock, Texas Instruments, down on its quarterly report more than 4%. We did have earnings up 27%. That beat views, but sales up 4%, missed analyst expectations, and weak guidance from Texas Instruments.
Yeah, I mean, Texas Instruments has been trending lower for several months, and usually when a stock is under heavy selling pressure like this, it has something to do with fundamentals. And the earnings beat at Texas Instruments. Sales were a little bit soft, but the guidance for the current quarter, they're really citing lukewarm demand for their analog integrated circuits as well as embedded processors. But the selling in the semiconductor sector has been pretty pronounced for some time now. It'll be interesting to see what Advanced Micro Devices has to say after the close today. That one's held up relatively well, but it's below its 50-day moving average, consolidating. But we'll see what AMD has to say after the close.
That's right, another one to watch after the close. And you mentioned the fundamentals. We did see deceleration of growth on the top and bottom lines. So that's definitely something to note here.
Definitely something to note. And again, the outlook for the current quarter, when they're talking about soft demand for products, that's typically not going to help shares for sure.
All right, and speaking of stocks reporting after the close, we have Vertex Pharmaceuticals due with earnings. Now, last quarter, it produced really strong earnings growth, up some 141%, strong sales growth as well, up 38%. So I guess the question here is, can Vertex turn in another quarter of strong numbers? Well,
the stock has been under a lot of selling pressure, as most biotechs and growth stocks in general. It was a pretty good breakout for a while, over a 183.49 buy point, but you can see over the past 3 or 4 weeks it has come under a lot of selling pressure. Fundamental story still seems to be intact here. They're a dominant player in the cystic fibrosis market, and we'll see what they have to say after the close. But stock looks vulnerable here, but we'll see. We'll see if they can deliver another strong quarter. Wouldn't be surprised to see it. Not sure it's going to be able to help the stock, but we'll see.
We definitely will. And we also will get results from O'Reilly Automotive. Now, this one is looking a lot nicer, holding up really well, getting support at the 50-day line and nearing a buy point heading into this report. A really strong composite rating here of 98, speaking to both the strength technically as well as on the fundamental side.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find charts like O'Reilly Automotive right now, still holding near highs, trading just above its 50-day moving average, a very bullish relative strength line. That tells you the stock's been outperforming the S&P 500. So earnings after the close for O'Reilly Automotive, we'll see what they have to say. And very difficult environment for technical breakouts amid the selling that we're seeing in the major stock indexes. But we'll see if results from O'Reilly can fuel a breakout here. It could be a tall order, but it's looking pretty good ahead of earnings.
Exactly. So the strategy heading into earnings, you don't want to be buying stocks outright heading into earnings. And then also, I think given the current market environment, that's another reason to be very cautious right now. But for those who are taking advantage of an option strategy, perhaps O'Reilly, potentially a good option here?
Yeah, you could look at a strike price of maybe 345, 350, and make sure you're not paying up too much for a premium on a call option. But didn't check the premium today, but it's probably a fairly cheap trade. So it could be a decent earnings option trade as long as it's a low risk, high reward trade. Those are the trades you want to look for.
Definitely. Well, everyone, you can check out investors.com throughout the trading day and after the close for those earnings results. We have the latest market news and analysis for you. And you can check us out across our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.